doesn't compare to, I don't know, the tragedy that the way this happened. I don't think anybody should be able to wear 8 or 24 ever again in the NBA. Dan, what do you think?
I want to say I agree with you, and number one, I agree that number 23 should have been retired a long time ago. As soon as Jordan was finished, that number should have been retired. And I agree, 24 and 8 should also be retired. And then I don't know if they'll do that though, league-wide. I guess it's a possibility. I would be all for it.
I think that they should be retired league-wide, and I think what's going to help back it is if what like Mark Cuban said and is going to do, if all these teams go out and say no player of our organization will ever wear those 2 numbers again, then I think that will really help the case that they should just retire the numbers. I think that they will, and I think that they should retire the number 8 and number 24 from anyone ever wearing it again, just because of how cruel of a way that he had to go and all the good things he did for basketball. You know, the whole Mamba mentality, it goes beyond basketball. It's not just a mental thing for basketball. It goes for anything that you're doing, whether it's sports or anything at home. It's the Mamba mentality.
Absolutely. And I can't remember exactly who tweeted it, but they said, like, whatever you did, whether it was football, basketball, I mean, just in the business world, if you're an actor, if you do music, Kobe Bryant inspired you to be better because of that Mamba mentality. Like, one of my favorite quotes that I've heard since the passing was an AI's statement. AI and Kobe were drafted in the same year. It's probably one of the best draft classes ever. I mean, look at it. They got Kobe and AI out of it. It's got to be up there. But so Kobe and AI came out in the same draft class, and they were friends. And when AI was in Los Angeles, he said that Kobe Bryant picked him up, and them two went out to dinner. And on their way home, Kobe asked him, he said, "Hey, what are you doing tonight?" And AI responded, "I'm going to the club. What are you doing tonight?" And Kobe responded, "I'm going to the gym." And that's just that's
great.
That's like a true testament definition to the person Kobe was. He just wanted to be better, man. He just wanted to be he just wanted to, like, if he wasn't going to do it skill-wise, which he's damn near close, he was going to put in just as much, if not more work than anybody else would do. And you know, I know there's a lot of people who are hurting right now due to the passing of Kobe Bryant. So, like I said again, you know, our hearts go out to the Bryant family and the families of all the other victims in the crash. You know, rest in peace, 24. Rest in peace, number 8. The Mamba mentality will live on. And with that being said, we're going to move on to the next segment of the podcast. Let's talk some Sixers. All right, guys. We had to let go of Dan on the phone just because feedback, and he's driving. He's making a road trip down to Florida right now.
Yeah, probably not the safest thing.
So we just wanted to get him on here specifically because he got to witness Kobe a lot more than me and Mark did.
Yeah.
But moving on, we're going to keep with the basketball talk about our 10-9-8 76ers, in the words of Dan. So let's talk about Ben Simmons.
What a guy.
So Ben Simmons continues to... I have a love-hate relationship with Ben Simmons.
Yes.
I believe most probably do.
A lot of Sixers fans, if not everybody, does. And it stems from, we love him because we know how good he can be and because he shows us. But he shows us when Joel Embiid isn't in the game. And then we hate him because sometimes he sort of just takes the night off and won't be as good as he should be. And that's where we hate him, because why you just play better, dude? Yeah,
it seems like at times he's not giving his all. But, I mean, this past week he seems like he's been giving it 110%. I mean, I'm maybe a little bit more offensively in the fourth. I would say the Lakers game, I think that we haven't had a game since the Lakers game. I think that's the best game of Ben Simmons' career.
Yeah, it could be, definitely. Especially going against the Lakers. It's not like it's some scrub team. It's the best team in the West and probably the best team in the league, but that's up for debate.
The Sixers continue to remind you that they, like, when everybody is doing what they're supposed to do, they are the best team in this league.
Yeah.
Like, I really believe that. Like, don't get me wrong, there's some really good teams, and I know I've said, all this shit, like, we can't win the championship playing like how we were. And honestly, like, we could not win the championship if we continue to play how we were playing. But if we play like we played the other day, like, consistently in the playoffs, dude, we did it without Joel.
Yeah.
I mean, we're the best team in the league.
Yeah, and the one thing with Joel being out is that you sort of get this idea of Ben Simmons saying, oh, okay, it's my team now, and then I'm going to do whatever I have to do to make sure we pick up this win.
Yeah, definitely. I think, and that's the thing, man, and don't get me wrong, I'm not going to turn into one of those guys. I prefer both of my best players to be on the floor.
Oh, 100%. And this whole...
Like, there's this thing where it's like, you need to choose between, and I feel like that's happened a lot over the past few seasons with Ben and Joel. It seems like you're either a Ben guy or you're a Joel guy.
Yeah, and you decide whose team is it. You're either, this is Joel's team, we need to build around him, or this is Ben's team, we need to build around him.
So, and who do I think's more valuable to this team? I think Joel Embiid. I think Joel Embiid is more valuable to this team. I think Ben Simmons has the potential to be the best player in the NBA.
Yeah, 100%.
Right now, if you're making me choose, I'm choosing Joel. And that's just because I think Joel is more ready right now than Ben is. Not to say either of them are more than ready, because I feel like we get reminded at times that they're not quite ready yet. I mean, but Ben Simmons looked like a guy ready to lead his team to a championship against the Lakers. And he did it the game before as well.
Ben Simmons against the Lakers, he played 41 minutes. He was 12 for 15. Like Dylan said, he had 10 rebounds, 8 assists, and 28 points, which is pretty insane.
And he shot 12 for 15, right?
Yeah, 12 for 15.
You said that, I think. And what was his free throws? He shot 5 for 6, right?
Yeah, I think so.
On the free throws, which is obviously better than we've seen Ben do this year.
Yeah, he's certainly struggled at the free throw line.
I mean, and defensively, dude, the other day.
He's a
Ben
monster,
looked
dude.
Incredible.
Yeah. And
incredible.
Here's against the Raptors, which was the game before that. He played 38 minutes. He was 5 for 7 from the field goal. He had 10 rebounds, 8 assists, and 17 points. But everyone else really stepped up for the points-wise because Tobias had 22, and then Thibault had 13. So
yeah.
But we did lose that game. But Josh Richardson, that's when he got hurt.
Yeah.
So.
And is that after the Lakers game or no?
That was before. That was like 2 days before the Lakers game.
Did Shake Milton start the Lakers game?
Yeah. Yeah, but that was a lot of controversy too, was starting Shake Milton against arguably the best team in the league. I know that got a lot of people heated when we decided to do that.
Well, dude, I've been like a Shake Milton supporter for a while, and you just signed him in the offseason pretty much before they signed him in the offseason before they even signed up before they signed another backup guard. So it makes me, at the time, they signed him for like a decent amount of time too, I'm pretty sure, like 4 years or something like that. Like, they seemed pretty confident in him. And to bring him up and throw him right in the starting lineup was a big move. And, dude, like, I think he fucking did it well.
I don't have any complaints.
He played well.
Yeah.
I mean, he reminds me of Furkan a little bit. I mean, in the way that he's really he's good at a bunch of different things, but he's not elite in any of them. He's not super good in any of them.
Yeah.
Like, he's a pretty good ball handler. He's a pretty good shooter. He's a pesky defender. He can play off ball. He can play on ball, and he's a master at none. But he's more than capable at doing all of them.
Yeah, he's pretty solid at all of them.
which is awesome. I like Shake Milton.
I'm a Shake Milton guy.
So before we say that, a little shout out to Shake Milton, and we'll get into that a little bit more. It just leads you to the point where the way Ben's been playing without Joel, and I feel like this happens every time Joel's out, Ben exceeds. And I think part of the reason is that we need him to. He doesn't have to do as much when Joel's out there, especially points-wise, like getting to the rim, shit like that. How should we build this team? Should we build it around Ben or should we build it around Joel?
You know, that's a tough one to answer. I think
what is best for the team?
I think we have something that's so rare in Ben Simmons, where you have a 6'10" point guard who can pass, who has the court vision, but he can also get to the rack and score some points. But then we also have Joel Embiid, who is a very good player at his position, and you know, he's
the best in the league.
Yeah, it's tough. When he's healthy, he's the best. But then it's sort of like when Joel's not in the lineup, then Ben Simmons is one of the best players in the league. He's one of the guys that's pretty hard to stop. So it's definitely tough to pick one player to build around. I think probably have to build around Joel if I had to pick, because Ben can go out there and give you 17, like 9 and 8. And you'll be fine. Everyone else has to step up. That's when Joel and Tobias need to put up like 23, 24 points, and then everything will be a different team if that happens.
Ben confuses me at times because he seems like he wants to be the guy who does it all and gets it done for his team. He puts points on the board. He's aggressive defensively. And then at other times it seems like he almost gets like pissed off that he has to do a lot.
Yeah.
Which shouldn't be the case. Like with Joel Embiid, like you should be happy that you don't have to have the best game of the season every single night to give yourself a fighting chance in the playoffs. You would think most people would be happy about that. With that being said, I think there's a really simple solution to this whole whether you're going to build around Ben or build around Joel. And I think there's kind of a common middle ground. And really, I guess I would say I would build around Ben just because he's your point guard. But don't get rid of Joel by any means.
Yeah.
I mean, do what you have to do. I think you need to find a common middle ground. I think you need to, I like the guys we have. You need a lot more shooting off the bench, though. And that's just in general, but I think you surround Ben Simmons with, like, we have Furkan. Like, give him a very good shooter in the starting lineup. Maybe, you probably need Richardson. Like, I would say even consider moving Tobias to the 4, or moving Tobias to the 4 in defense and bringing in another shooter and putting him in the starting lineup, and benching Horford and having Horford come off the bench.
Yeah, because if we get a shooter in the starting lineup, then this is a completely different team, like we said before.
Yeah, like my middle ground is, I'm not saying you need to keep a backup center for Joel so he doesn't feel like he has to do it all.
Yeah.
You need a good backup center, which you have in Al Horford. Like before, it's been like in the playoffs, if Joel's not on the floor, we're going to get killed in the paint.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily the case anymore, which is awesome with Al Horford. But you need to surround Ben Simmons with shooters, and I think that will benefit Joel. I think it'll benefit Ben. Like, we really just need more shooting on the team overall, and it's just as a team, and it sounds so stupid and so simple, but I think that's just the middle ground for everybody. Make Joel happy by giving him a backup center who we have in Horford, have him play behind Joel, get him 20-something minutes a game, and not make Horford do it all.
Yeah, and that certainly brings up
not make Joel do it all. I apologize.
Yeah, my fault. And that brings up like the thing where about load management, where Joel, it's going to be tough for Joel being that big of a guy to go out there and play like 35, 37 minutes a game. Well, if you have Al Horford coming off the bench, then you're going to have the capability to just not have him play that many minutes and then have the team still be in okay hands with Al Horford coming off the bench. That way he can get more rest, and then he wouldn't have to just sit a game out for rest reasons, you know?
I just think the common middle ground for this entire thing is to get more shooting So Ben doesn't have to do it all. Joel doesn't have to do it all. You don't need Ben and Joel to shoot. Like, I still think Ben needs to shoot.